Hey there, Swifties and future Swifties, because we do hope to convert a few of you. Welcome back to another episode of 40 is the New Swiftie podcast, where Millennial Mom spilt the tea on all things life and Taylor Swift. I am your host, Arianne, and as is customary, I will be talking you through our topic of the week, which this week happens to be track number 3 from Taylor's album, The Life of a Showgirl. I'm super excited to talk to you about Opalite. It is hands down my favorite song on the album and is truly top 3 of my all-time favorite Taylor Swift songs, which right now I would have to say go in order of number 1, Opalite, number 2, Look What You Made Me Do from the Reputation album, and number 3 is Teardrops on My Guitar from her self-titled debut album, Taylor Swift, because that was the first ever Taylor Swift song that I heard, and I still absolutely love that song to this day. All right, let's get into it. Track 3 from the Life of a Showgirl album. The title of this track is Opalite. When I first heard Taylor talking about this album on the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey, Opalite stood out to me, but I can't really tell you why. At the time, we had zero context as to what any of these songs were going to be about. All we knew was that the title of the album was The Life of a Showgirl. It had 12 songs and 12 songs only. She made it very clear there were no bonus tracks, no surprise second drops. What you see is what you get with this one, folks. As she was talking through the songs, though, okay, I'm just going to say it. I know that there are millions of Taylor Swift fans out there in the world. And I do believe that each of us has our very own special connection to Taylor, to her music, just to all things Taylor Swift. But I'm going to put this out there in the universe. I believe that Taylor and I have a special invisible string connection. She will just get this like glimmer in her eye in certain moments, and I'll just intuitively know that there's something significant in that conversation, that thought that just passed through her mind, this moment in time. Every single time I have a theory about this, I am 100% right. When Taylor was talking through the titles of these songs on the New Heights podcast, she got that special little glimmer in her eye when she got to Opalite. Now, as she continued down the path of dropping this album, she did quite a few podcast and talk show interviews, especially after the album had dropped, so she could really dig into the details of the album and share more information about the songs, their inspiration. Taylor has this amazing ability to give reference and context to a song without ever specifically naming people, moments in time, organizations. If you know anything about Taylor Swift at all, and especially if you're a Swiftie, you know exactly who or what she's referencing, yet she manages to keep herself squeaky clean by skirting around it and kind of talking in code, which she does exceptionally well as she talks through the inspiration behind all 12 tracks on this album. Opalite is a man made stone to resemble the natural stone, opal. Opal also happens to be Travis' birthstone. Taylor says that this song is about going through life, striving, working hard, falling down, picking yourself back up again. Through this process and through life experiences, realizing that we have the ability to create our own happiness. So that's what she says is the motivation behind it. I also believe that she is explicitly talking about she and Travis having this realization and creating that joy for themselves together within their relationship, almost like they are a catalyst for each other. Each of them understood that it was their own responsibility to create joy and happiness and see the good in their lives. But together, it was just, well, the song describes it better than I ever could. So let's just dig into the lyrics. As always, I will copy and paste the lyrics into the comments below so you can follow along if you would like. And to be perfectly honest, friends, I don't know that I need to give an explicit warning on this one. If there are swear words, it's pretty minimal. So I am just going to read the lyrics straight from the cover booklet that came in the CD. Okay, track 3, Opalite. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. And all the perfect couples said, when you know, you know. And when you don't, you don't. So that's the first chorus. And something else I love about this album is there's a lot of nuances and hidden meanings. It's exceptionally poetic, but it's also pretty straightforward. She doesn't use a lot of confusing context or metaphor. What you see is what you get. Plus, you also get Easter eggs and poetry and hidden meanings. But I feel like any person could listen to this song from track 1 to track 12 and completely follow the story, which I'll admit, even as a Swiftie, being a newer Swiftie, like a late bloomer Swiftie, I'm still learning how to decipher some of that in her earlier albums. But this one, it truly is a storybook. It is a 47-minute-ish long 12-track storybook. Back to the lyrics. Okay, first verse. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash, which just freaking cracks me up because ain't that the truth? I don't know about you Swifties listeners, but I have had a few garbage relationships that I kept going back to because, I mean, having a bad habit of missing lovers past, I am so guilty of that. We romanticize the good and we tend to forget the bad. The longer we do that, especially staying single a long period of time after ending a relationship, it's really easy to start to think that maybe it wasn't as bad, at least for me, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And perhaps I want to give this person a second chance because there was a lot of good involved in the relationship too. I have been accused of doing the same thing with other situations socially in my career, even when it comes to religious organizations. I'd like to think that I'm not alone in this, but jump into the comments below and let me know. Are you also guilty of eating out of the trash in some kind of circumstance in your life in the past? She says, I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. If you go back through and listen to Taylor's music library, she references living with ghosts a lot. Every time she does, it's typically one of my favorite songs on the album because it's just so damn poetic. I love it though that this is past tense. Friends, I don't know that we're ever going to hear Taylor reference living with ghosts again, unless it's in reference to something different, something involving her career or friendships. As far as romantic relationships go, this is a thing of the past. She has found her present and future. There's no reason to revisit those ghosts or invite them into her space or eat out of the trash anymore because she has absolutely found her treasure. So then we move into the chorus. And all of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. I was wrong. So this portion of the chorus changes from verse to verse, and initially it confused me a little bit. I was not completely honest at the beginning, was I? There's still a little bit of that metaphoric poetry on this album that I'm trying to understand and decipher. That takes a little more thinking than just singing along and dancing at stoplights in my car. All of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. I was wrong. The reason why I didn't like these lyrics initially is because it felt superficial. Like, life isn't necessarily a single song. I think it's a series of songs. But I think what she's meaning is like, life is a song, it ends when it ends. Like, I think she's saying the same thing I'm saying. Life is a series of songs. Life is an album, it's a symphony, it is a collection of moments. But there are times when those moments, those chapters, those eras must come to an end in order for us to move on. And that's really what she's meaning. Like, life is a song, it ends when it ends. I was wrong. As in, all of those past relationships, the ghost that she used to live with, all of those moments previously, like she thought it was the real deal. She thought it was her happy ending. But in those moments, she was wrong. Horace goes on to say, but my mama told me it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. So onyx is also a stone. Now, onyx is found in nature, like onyx is a naturally made stone versus the opalite being man made. But I think that that just really supports her description and definition of the context of this song, where life can so easily get us down. And those are the things that happen to us, the circumstances that are out of our control. Like, life is going to happen exactly the way that it was meant to. And there are so many things outside of our control. And we can so easily allow ourselves to get pulled down into the negative and the darkness, that onyx night. Or we can choose to make our sky opalite. She says, oh, 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 my Lord. Never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. This is the only time when the chorus says, never made anyone like you before. And I didn't catch it the first several times. When I did finally hear it for the first time, I was like, wait, I thought she said met. Lily was with me in the car when I was having this revelation. She's like, well, it's because her mom's talking to her. And so her mom is explaining, like, she's never made anyone like you before. Like, Taylor is one of a kind, broke the mold, never seen it before, never going to see it again. And if you watch any of the End of the Era docuseries, there are a couple episodes where they interview Andrea pretty extensively. She alludes to that quite a bit, just how special and unique Taylor is and how her career has affected the lives of so many, but most especially of her family in a really positive way. Okay, I digress. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 oh. You couldn't understand it. So we're moving into the next verse. You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. So, like I said, Taylor never explicitly says that this song is about Travis. But if you know anything about pop culture, then you know that Travis's last serious relationship that he had prior to Taylor was with a woman who has made a career out of being a social influencer. So, I mean, if you think about it, that's pretty straightforward. She was in her phone and you were just a pose. Okay, the lyrics go on. And don't we try to love, love? We give it all we got. You finally left the table. And what a simple thought. You're starving till you're not. Kind of going back to the idea of eating out of the trash and living with ghosts and romanticizing past relationships when we're alone. I think Travis and Taylor both have a tendency to be all in whatever they're doing, whether it's a friendship, a career endeavor, or a romantic relationship. They truly do give it all they got. I am also like that, which has a tendency to result in staying around a lot longer than I should and ignoring red flags and warning signs to the point that I don't even like believe that there are any. I just want to see the good. I've committed myself to this situation and I refuse to admit that maybe it was a mistake or perhaps, it's gone toxic and it's time to get out. So when I think about don't we try to love love, we give it all we got. I imagine Travis probably looks back on that relationship and realizes that he stayed a lot longer than he would have liked to. But because he was just kind of blinded by love, he was all in, he was giving it all he's got. He didn't realize he was starving. He's sitting at this table with this person who's not reciprocating and not giving him what he needs. And then one day, he wakes up, his eyes are opened. He realizes that he can get up and walk away. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, wow, I was starving in that relationship. And now I'm not. And it is a simple thought, but gosh, the journey to that point of revelation can be long and rocky. When I look back now, and maybe someday we'll dig into this, but I have at least three very specific periods of time in my life that I could easily reflect on with a lot of shame and embarrassment for ignoring the red flags, ignoring the warning signs, and staying at that table starving a lot longer than I needed to. But those moments made me who I am today. And I'll tell you what, if you've ever sat at a table starving, literally or metaphorically, it creates this whole deeper level of appreciation when you're finally not starving. I have a beautiful life now. I have a husband who adores me. I have an amazing daughter at home who's thriving. I have two incredible bonus daughters who have blessed us with the most beautiful families. We're stable financially, we're healthy physically and mentally. We have a beautiful home. I have everything I ever dreamed of having and then some. And I mean, I'm still not even halfway through life yet. So, pretty excited about the future. I'm no longer starving. I'm no longer living with ghosts. But I'll tell you what, if you're interested in hearing some of those stories, let me know. Drop a comment and I will make note of that. Or feel free to send us a DM on Instagram at 40 and Swifty. So that's at 40ANDSWIFTEA. Let us know if you're interested in hearing about some of those chapters in my life when I stayed at the table starving far longer than I should have, and we will get some content created around it for you. Alrighty, back to the lyrics. And all of the foes and all of the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. Life is a song, it ends when it ends. You move on. And that's when I told you. So the story's continuing. First, it started with her mom consoling her, hey, it's all right. And now she gets to, pass that message along to her lover and partner. Like, hey, I've been there. I totally get it. No judgment, no shame. You're coming out of it now. And this portion about and all the foes and all the friends, in the first chorus, she says, all the foes and all the friends have seen it before, they'll see it again. And in this one, it says, have messed up before, they'll mess up again. So I feel like, in that first time around, she's like, God, I was eating out of the trash. And everybody was watching. Everybody saw it. It was on display for all to see. And it is what it is. Like, friends and foes alike got to be witness to me eating out of the trash. But now she says, all the foes and all the friends have messed up before, they'll mess up again. Like, everybody screws up. We're all human. So she's not just extending that grace to herself, but she's extending it to this love interest who she's speaking to. And I'm just going to go ahead and say Travis. She's speaking to Travis too. Like, yeah, you were starving at the table and then you got up and you're not starving anymore. And hey, we all mess up sometimes. And that's when I told you, it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. The first time we touched on the chorus, we didn't talk about dancing through the lightning strikes, storms, circumstances outside of your control, but can absolutely rock your world. Yet she chooses to use the phrase dancing through the lightning strikes, which, yet again, Taylor loves to reference Dancing in the Rain. You see it many times in many songs. But Dancing Through the Lightning Strikes, that's new. Now, she has referenced lightning before. She talks about, catching lightning in a bottle. I think there's a couple other songs where she references lightning. But in this sense, it's more reflecting on it. I don't want to say in a positive light, but there's something lighthearted about the concept of dancing through the lightning strikes instead of saying we just had to dodge them or endure them. And I love that because it fully encompasses the whole idea and vibe behind this song. Okay. So she says, dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 my lord. Never met no one like you before. So now it's not her mom talking to her, it's her talking to Travis. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 oh. This is just a storm inside a teacup. But shelter here with me, my love. Thunder like a drum. This life will beat you up, 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 up. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom, and I can bring you love. Love, 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 love. Don't sweat it, baby. This is just a storm inside a teacup. So this is my favorite part of the song. From this point on, this is my absolute, utterly favorite part of the song because we like hit a climax in key and rhythm and just like the full energy of the song is growing and it just like comes to a peak in this portion of it. So this is just a storm inside a teacup. Well, first of all, tea, spilling the tea is the new Swiftie. Tea with Gen Z. Obviously, I'm always going to love it when Taylor references tea, but the idea of a storm inside a teacup has had me reflecting quite a bit. A storm in general, dancing through the lightning strikes, any storm is going to shake you, rock you, inconvenience you in some capacity. But yet again, it only has as much power as we give it. If we see a storm and we allow ourselves to believe that it's never going to end, that it's massive, that it's going to touch everything from now on, then we're giving it so much power. But what if every time you encounter a storm, you just tell yourself, this is just a storm inside a teacup? Like it's that small, it's that contained and isolated. And although it is very real, it is also very temporary and just a blip in the concept of the entire expanse of your lifetime and existence. And she says, shelter here with me, my love. So you were dancing through the lightning strikes. I was dancing through the lightning strikes. But now, the storm inside a teacup, we're going to shelter here together and keep each other safe and warm. Thunder like a drum, this life will beat you up. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom. So, again, temporary speed bump. Yeah, it's going to slow you down for a minute, but then you get to keep going and you have control over the acceleration that you generate once you're past that speed bump. Failure brings you freedom. If all of those past relationships that both of them had not failed, then they would not have found each other. And God, isn't that the truth? Time and time again, not just in romantic relationships, in anything that we attempt. Anytime I'm trying to live my life, I would translate failure as I am wrong, not I made a mistake, not these circumstances are hard, but I am wrong. I am broken. I am a failure. And not in the capacity of I took action and it failed, but I, as a being in existence, am a failure, a disappointment. My existence has fallen short. I missed the mark. I missed my purpose. I'm a waste of life, which I know sounds dramatic, but it's the truth. Every single time I used to fail, I believed that and had to carry that around with me all the time and had to try and navigate that deep, dark of a low while still functioning, supporting those around me, being a positive contribution to my household, to my place of work, to my social circles. Yet every time something didn't go the way I thought that it should, especially in reference to me performing in some capacity, it was just another reminder that I, as a person, was a waste of a life. Thankfully, I have found therapy, medication, and Taylor Swift as a result of all of these things in combination with my rock solid faith and relationship with my spiritual higher power. I don't think those things anymore. I can read this lyric and not go, wow, that must be nice for you. That will never be the case for me. Failure truly is a speed bump, and it does. It brings you freedom. And as Taylor says, I can bring you love, 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 love. So life, circumstances, failure bring you freedom. And within that freedom, we can find a source of love. My husband is the absolute love of my life and my soulmate. I couldn't recognize that until I could learn how to love myself. So when I hear this song, that's initially where my mind goes is failure brings me freedom and I can bring me love. And as a result of loving myself, then I can open my heart and mind up to receiving the love of others, but also being able to give unconditional love to others because I finally understand what that means. I had to figure out how to give myself unconditional love before I really understood what it meant to receive it or give it to others. And then the song goes into this kind of like key change break thing. I don't know what the exact musical term is for it, but she goes, "Don't you sweat it, baby." Every single time I hear that part of the song, I have to like stop and like clap my hands together and then do the like safe move in baseball. Like I'm in a Broadway number and this is the peak climax of the song. Like, don't you sweat it, baby. It's all right. And then it goes into the chorus one more time. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 my lord. Never met no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. When I think about this concept of creating my own happiness, there are 100 different stories I could tell you that are relevant even within the last couple of months. Something I've been talking to my therapist about is the concept of hobbies. I thought I had hobbies. I did not have hobbies. I had things I enjoyed doing that I still tied expectations and performance to. Reading a book, it needed to have a purpose. I needed to learn something from it. I needed to have a reason why I was reading that specific book beyond just the fact that it brought me entertainment value. Doing any kind of arts and crafts project, I did complete some diamond art fairly recently, and then I hung it up in my office. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot, but I'll tell you what, like, it's strenuous and time consuming, and it took me several months just to finish two small pieces. So even though I love doing it, I probably won't continue to pursue that during this chapter of my life just because I need a little more instant gratification than that, but I can't say that I successfully completed some diamond art solely as a hobby, but I just love to create. And I have figured out that one of my favorite hobbies is throwing themed parties for my friends and family. You heard that right. I love to throw themed parties for my friends and family. Stranger Things series finale dropped on New Year's Eve. You better believe we had a Stranger Things New Year's Eve themed party. And when we drop this podcast episode, I will gladly share some photos of these themed parties that I've done recently on our Instagram account so that you can see my hobby handiwork. Another one we did recently when the End of an Era docuseries dropped, I did a watch party for Lily and her best friend, and then her best friend's mom also joined us. One of my favorites to date. I mean, obviously, because it's Taylor, but also just because I really got into the details of that one and I had so much fun just creating it. And truly, like, I've reached a place where I can unashamedly admit that this is more for me than it is for the people receiving it, which is beautiful because A, it truly is a hobby. I do it because it brings me joy. And B, it releases anyone else of any expectations from me. So whether people love it, hate it, receive it well, say thank you, have a blast, sit in the corner with a pissed off look on their face the entire time. That's their prerogative. I did this because it brings me joy and I'm going to enjoy it. I love the creative process as much as I do the execution. And I take lots of pictures and I look back on them and I feel really, really good about myself and remember how amazing I felt and how much fun I had doing that project. 100% a hobby. It costs time, money, energy, attention. There's no KPI or ROI or performance measures attached to the results except that I had fun and I look back on it with joy. Most recent hobby project, Lily's end of year cheer banquet for her middle school cheer team. So she's getting ready to graduate 8th grade. She is the first graduating 8th grade class of the newly built middle school, which she is attending this year. And she has decided to retire from cheer at the end of this season, which we are in full support of. It still makes me a little sad to think about because I just loved going and supporting her. But the beauty of it is she's choosing to step away from cheer so she can pursue other things that we can support her in, things like debate, which Bill and I are just giddy to think about how well she's going to do there and how much fun it's going to be to support her in that. As a result, though, I've been really, really into cheer, especially towards the end of this season. And when the coach and the moms suggested doing an end of year banquet for the cheerleaders, I was on it. I mean, I was so ready. I tried not to be too pushy or aggressive and like, I volunteer as tribute. But I was there for it. And the second they started asking for help, like I raised my hand and I wound up having the privilege of getting to do the majority of the decorations. The banquet was a blast. I got to do the centerpieces, like all of the table coverings. We did a photo backdrop and I had no idea what anybody's response was going to be. I just didn't know. I have no idea what other people's expectations are for things like this because my bar is so, so very high that I just don't have any clue going into it what others are looking for, hoping for, expecting. Based off the response we got, I think I met and potentially exceeded most expectations, but it was so cool. Typically when I do these things, it's for a small group, it's for my family. It's obvious that I was the one who did it because there's three of us and it's in our home together. In this instance, there were a half dozen parents there who knew that I had done the decorations for this event, but for the most part, they just saw a cheer banquet for their daughter for the end of their cheer season. And the girls just had the best time. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, we're talking about 7th and 8th grade girls. You never know what you're going to get, but they leaned in. They fully embraced it. From walking the red carpet to posing in front of both of the photo backdrops that we were able to set up, and the coach was fully engaged. The parents were engaged and present, and the whole space, it just felt perfect. And on top of all of it, again, I don't do it for the feedback or validation. But while we were setting everything up, the theater kids were passing through, getting ready for their play. I heard at least 6 times, "Whoa, it's so fancy. This is beautiful. It looks like a wedding." And I just love it that, like, we have set the precedence for athletic banquets now at this new middle school. And so far, all of the feedback has been super positive. At the end, we got to donate the majority of the reusable decorations to the cheer team. So now they've got those things to utilize year over year as our family moves on to the next chapter. But I just had such a good time putting it together. And I know that Lily had a blast at the banquet as well. It was just so much fun to hear Lily's perspective of the banquet, too. She spent quite a bit of time observing how all of the girls were present at the same level. No one's outfit outshined anyone else's. Everyone looked beautiful. Everyone was dressed to the same caliber. The girls didn't break off in cliques and exclude others. They were all very inclusive with each other.
If you know anything about middle school cheerleaders, that is not something that you can just assume or count on happening. It was really cool that it happened, and it was especially cool that Lily observed that and was excited about it. They took tons of pictures in front of both of the backdrops. Lily was super excited. You could tell that she felt beautiful, that she just felt really great. I think the phrase she used was, I haven't felt this much like myself in a long time, which was just absolute music to my ears. We had had such a good time shopping for her dress, preparing her hair and makeup. I'm so grateful that she let me be a part of it from start to finish, not just the money and the labor behind it, but really engaging with me through the whole process. She and a couple of the other families stayed afterwards to help clean up. Even beyond the hobby and creation of it all, it was just an extraordinary experience from start to finish. And I am incredibly grateful to the families, to the coach, to the school for providing that opportunity for both myself and Lily. And definitely storing this one away as a core memory. So, yay. Yay for hobbies. Yay for raising feral teenagers, because there's a lot of joy and excitement and memories to be had in all of it. And it was definitely an Opalite moment, I think, for both of us. So really that concludes this week's episode of 40 is the New Swifty podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We asked you to drop comments in a couple of different times, so would love to hear from you. We want to engage with you. Be sure to check us out on Instagram. And until next time, take care of yourself, friends. And remember, this is just a storm inside a teacup.